This episode is brought to you by Red Riding Hood, the manga-inspired take on the classic fairy tale for readers grades K through 2, written by Christina Oxtra. In Red Riding Hood, readers review the classic story in a brand new way, with twists in the story, more diverse characters, and featuring Japanese aesthetics incorporated throughout. Red Riding Hood is part of a series published by Capstone and written by various artists with unique takes on your childhood favorites. Look out for Red Riding Hood, available on Amazon and your local bookstores. Congratulations, Christina, on your first published book. The link is in the show description.
Hello everybody, welcome to Boss Rush Warriors, Age of Gaming Insanity. This is the Nintendo 64 episode of Boss Rush Game Podcast. Joining me, Boss Rush just gave me that look, just like, what in the world? Because it's episode 64, so I do have to Nintendo 64.
Is it already?
Yeah. Yes, they did Hyrule Warriors, Age of Calamity. They were showing gameplay on the Tokyo Game Show, and so I was just like, man, we are some Boss Rush Warriors because we come from different podcasts, different areas. Because I got my wise Wisconsin tonight, Mr. Jesse Douglas.
How's it going, everyone?
The Gunner Hunter himself, Mr. LeRon D.
Hey, what's up, everybody?
Bossman himself, Mr. Corey Derrick.
Hello.
And I'm your host, the exciting and enlightened Eddie V, aka Eddie Fresh. I was playing Mario Maker, and I was just like, "Oh, I forgot Corey named me Eddie Fresh." But yeah, that. Oh my goodness, they showed off that game, and I'm like, "Oh, we better get some of these cutscenes in Breath of the Wild 2." Like Kobe Tecmo, top game, top A. Wow. So.
And wait. We're talking about We're talking about the game that's supposed to be coming soon, right?
That one in November. Yeah.
In November. Yeah.
Wait. It's that. Wait. We're talking about the Dynasty Warriors game.
Yeah, it's coming November 20th.
Okay, I was confused for a second. I was like, wait, what?
But that trailer, dude. I feel like a lot of people are going to be disappointed because I think they're expecting a Breath of the Wild style game, and we're just getting a Dynasty Warriors game.
A Dynasty Warriors Zelda game. Another one.
I mean, I'm more excited for this one than I was for Hyrule Warriors, Hyrule Warriors, but I still am going in with lowered expectations about what kind of game it is, and just I'm excited to see more what they're actually trying to do with the story, because this one, the Zelda team is actually writing the story for it. So
just seeing the cutscenes, I'm like, I would love to see more cutscenes in Breath of the Wild, and if they could do it with two, like to tell a more help tell the story, I hope they have it, because man, it looks really good in Age of Calamity. And no disrespect to Cyberpunk, even though I put the post that it came off my must-have list. I am gonna get Cyberpunk when it comes out.
Why did it come off your must-have list? Why?
It came off my must-have list because that trailer just made me super hyper that it became like, oh, I need this like automatically day one. No, and I said, not saying that I'm not going to get Cyberpunk, because I am going to buy. Jesse already knows if he can't get a copy, he will be turning on his Xbox and he will see it being download gifted to him. I'm not playing it with Cyberpunk.
Yeah, and that's one of those games that I'm probably gonna wait and play it on the Series X.
But it would kick up
because
if you buy the Xbox One version, right? You get the free upgrade.
Yeah.
But
I'm just not gonna play it.
The PS5 and Series X upgrades aren't coming until early 2021.
Yeah. So,
which is I mean,
and by then it'll have sold like 30 million copies and be $20, so I'll be good to go.
Wow. Well, I definitely want.
You're welcome for that, by the way, because I already bought my copy.
Yeah, see, you got people like LeRon already buying it, and I can just wait. But I'm kind of with Ed though. Like it's not even on my list of games that I'm excited for this fall. To be honest.
Oh my
with you.
God, y'all are wounding me. Jeez, that game is actually making my holiday season right
Well,
now.
yeah.
You know,
I'm more excited for Gears Tactics and Beyond Light and Age of Calamity than I am for Cyberpunk.
And it's not against my thing with Cyberpunk was just like the delays and not seeing enough gameplay for it, so it was losing my interest and stuff with it. A lot of that stuff. Hold on, LeRon.
Okay.
Hold on.
Okay.
A lot of it felt like it was still a cutscene to me, and so I'm not seeing what the actual screen is going to look and everything. Like I don't know if they're going to have a map, a light bar, or like, and I don't know if they're going to have more on the thing. So everything felt like it was still a cutscene. So it was giving me just like less reasons to be hyped for it. I'm not saying that, like I said, I'm not saying that I'm not going to buy. You're going to see my black tail at Target on day one. Get in that game. And I'm going to install it and I'm going to play it. And you're going to see 15,000 screens and me probably hollering about, oh, now they've convinced me that this game is good. But it's just, right now, it's just like, it just got knocked off on the list. Where Age of Calamity is, Age of Calamity is going to be like, I'm taking the day off. I'm getting an outfit and I will be at this place to buy it.
Whispers, he's just a Nintendo fanboy. That's why. Honestly, I mean, everybody has their game that they just take days off for.
Mm-hmm.
Like I didn't take a day off from Monster Hunter World because it came out at midnight, so I didn't have no need to take a day off. I just stayed up for 4 hours the first night and then muddled through my workday the next day. I don't know, like you know what you're saying about the delays. You know, it kind of sounds like the same narrative I've been hearing, but you know, I feel like this, like. I'd rather CD Projekt Red tell me like, "Hey, we're pushing back our game,"
Mm-hmm.
you know, and know that they're doing quality. You know, just like how whenever we hear Rockstar say we're pushing back a GTA game or a Red Dead game, we know they're working on quality.
And that's when I laugh.
Versus companies like Ubisoft and basically Ubisoft and who's another company? Konami's gotten that reputation now where it's like, hey, we're pushing our game back, and everybody's like, uh-oh, the game's in trouble.
Well, in one of the things with Witcher didn't they have an option in Witcher where you could minimize your HUD?
Yeah,
like you could turn like a lot of stuff off. I feel like this game's gonna be like that too, because
especially given it's a first-person game.
Yeah,
because they've showed a lot of gameplay of what it's gonna look like on screen. So,
but see, it's still looking like a cutscene to me, and it's a me thing. No one else. It's literally just a me thing. It's a me thing. It's an ADV. Me in my mind.
You know what? I think the problem is you soaked up everything they threw out there because I'm one of those people like I have a finite limit of how many trailers I'm going to watch for something before I have to cut myself off, because I may mess around and see every freaking trailer and then I've seen the whole game and then I lose my interest altogether from the game, the movie, whatever it is, you know.
Jesse knows that I have done that for some games, so I'm just like, I'm not even watching any more till this game came out.
Or also sometimes trailers mess you up because like a lot of times you see stuff that left on the cutting room floor and it never gets to the final product, and then you remember, it's like, oh, I remember seeing this scene in the E3 trailer, where did it go, you know? And it's like, you know, and then it's like, oh, these people are full of BS, you know. Like for example, when Capcom did the Street Fighter Cross Tekken thing.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Or you watch a trailer and find out that the game hasn't even been started or planned yet.
Like maybe Beyond Good and Evil 2, maybe.
Hey, Metro Prime 4.
Seasons after having that game that they showed for Switch that I'm just so mad about.
Are we talking about Metroid Prime? Are we talking about that one?
No, it's another game. It's another
Seasons
game
After Heaven, it's called.
Okay.
Yeah. So it
was
like a fantasy kind of art style. It looks really good from the first trailer, and then you watch it, and it became like a deep, depressive military shooter.
Yeah,
And it was just like
it was based off of a trilogy of books. But the guy came out later and he said that, yeah, this game isn't being worked on. I don't have anyone making a game or anything yet. He's like, it's not going to be started on the game until my trilogy of books is finished.
He better start crowdfunding that.
I think, Ed, I actually think that video that I sent you.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's even real now. Like I almost wonder if that's something that or I don't know for sure because I don't know something about that seemed weird.
Sticking right with you.
Yeah. And that, like I said, that was like blatant ripoff. That was totally the Call of Duty Ghost symbol on that guy's
Oh, I remember that now. As soon as you said that Call of Duty Ghost thing, I was like, wait, I remember that.
Yeah, but it's because it sucks. It was more of like a, not really Breath of the Wild, but like it had just a really cool art style. Like that was more, and then there is a new video, which part of me wonders if like someone just took a video that was released in that one that I sent you, Ed, and then when he said like we have something to show you, but I don't know for sure what's going on with that game. But all I know is if that is really the direction that they want to go now with it, it's just completely lost me because it's too much like a
it looks
every other game. Yeah, every other Call of Duty clone out there. So and we don't need more of those. Do something like the original Vision where it's more unique and just like, I don't know, like that Seasons After Heaven. If you watch that original trailer that they showed during the was it actually, I don't know if it was during E3 or not, or if it was just during one of the directs, the Nintendo directs or something.
Ed, you're muted.
You're muted.
He fell apart. He's broken. Ed's broken.
I can barely hear you.
Hear you.
Yeah, he's
I think you need a new microphone or something.
Well, while he's fixing that, I will say this: maybe we should dedicate an entire Boss Rush podcast episode just talking about how like developers and producers and all that stuff need to take more chances and stop cloning every single thing that they feel is going to generate money. Because
What's Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay.
Yeah, because in all seriousness, I'm kind of tired of seeing a game that looks fresh and new, and then it basically is a clone of something that I've already played, and sometimes it's a clone of something I've already played to death. So it's like, I'm not getting this game.
I mean, even like even games that like clone, like take other ideas from other games that are done really well are kind of like, okay. Yeah. I mean, even something as much as I love Breath of the Wild, right? Like that game has clearly taken a lot of influences from other games, and the fact that it does it really well, like, was amazing. But like, it's still an open world action game with a lot of systems at work. Granted, it works really well, right? And when it works well, it works well. But like, I don't know.
And there's at least things that they did in it that people now want in games like that. Like it's different if at least they kind of put their own spin on it, where there's too many times there's people or there's games where it just feels like they're making something, copying something just to get something out so they can say that they made something, or but I don't know.
I think it's a level of who as a company can play it safe, and then who as a company could be innovative. with ideas when it comes to games.
Okay. Companies like EA,
Hold on,
Activision,
hold on. Before you go, let's do this housekeeping first, and then we'll get back to it
No,
real quick.
I mean,
This is episode
We
64
don't
of the
really.
Boss Rush podcast. Each and every week, we come together to talk about games and everything we love about them with our friends. You can join us live on Saturdays at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time on twitch.tv/BossRushGames Live and be part of the conversation. But if you can't join us live, no big deal. You can head over to youtube.com/BossRushGames and BossRushGames.com to watch the show or listen on your favorite podcast service of choice. Remember to subscribe, follow, rate, and review wherever you consume us. It helps us out with discoverability, and check out our family of shows wherever you listen to your podcast. So guys, do check out Crossroads, Arsenal X, 1v1, Nintendo Power Block, and more content that we have on the site. Go, LeRon, because I'm excited to hear what you got to say.
Okay. Basically, I was just gonna start pointing fingers. It was like, companies like EA, Activision, Ubisoft, companies like that, even Nintendo. They need to stop playing it safe. Take chances. There are certain things. You know what? If Nintendo releases a Mario game, like an actual like an actual successor to a Mario game, and it's trash, like it's a learning experience though. They know for sure that this won't work, and they can move on to the next idea. I'm not saying always just like scrap what you're doing, that type of deal. But I mean like games like for example Assassin's Creed games and stuff like that. I feel like Ubisoft has become just known as Assassin's Creed because for a while they were known as Prince of Persia. For a while they were known as, what was the other big franchise they had back in the day before? Far Cry. Yeah, you know what? A lot of people know when I say Ubisoft, a lot of people do not say Far Cry though. They always say Assassin's Creed.
Rayman was a big one.
Tom Clancy.
Rayman, games like that. And you notice like there hasn't been a Tom Clancy. I'm thinking Splinter Cell, but there's a lot of Tom Clancy like titles on some of their names, on some of their games. I mean, but if you notice, like all those Tom Clancy games still kind of play like the same game before, whether it's Rainbow Six,
Wildlands and the Division are essentially, they feel like the same game almost.
Exactly.
It's like Ghost Recon. What? Sorry, Jesse, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh no, keep going.
Oh, I was going to say like Breakpoint was essentially the Division in the jungle, right? I think that's what a lot of people's complaint was.
Yeah.
It's because Ubisoft got, I think Assassin's Creed 2 showed, I want to say Far Cry 3 actually. Far Cry 3 was a big success for them on how they do open world games in a sense. And so from that metric, they just refined it. And that's kind of most of the design of their big series. All their Tom Clancy games is open world. The Assassin's Creed now games are open world. Far Cry is open world. Like those three big franchises, if you see from like Far Cry 3 on to a lot of their series, it's all open world. Nothing is like really linear, level by level base.
I can tell you one company that has not played it safe in the last couple of years, and that company is Capcom. Capcom has done a whole bunch of diverse and different things over the last couple of years, and that's why their sales goals have been broken for like the last 2 years because they're just crushing it. I mean, even with the remakes of Resident Evil, for example, they still are going in different directions. The new Resident Evil game.
I actually agree with you a lot because I mean, you look at Resident Evil 7, right? And that's a first-person haunted house game, which, Outlast did it, but Resident Evil did it so much better. And it's not like an over-flooded genre, right? Like a first-person haunted house game. And then you get to the Resident Evil remakes, which are, they're over-the-shoulder third-person shooters, but they're still methodical, and you still have to play by Resident Evil rules, right? And then you look at Monster Hunter, which is like, wow, this changed the way that we look at kind of like a crafting. What would you call it? Like almost like an RPG, I guess, sort of.
Go ahead, Corey.
Oh, I was gonna say, like, you even look at something like Mega Man 11, that's like a side-scrolling whatever, right?
That one blew my mind when it launched because I thought Mega Man was dead.
Yeah, and like their portfolio, like Devil May Cry also, their portfolio is probably one of the most diverse portfolios out there, outside of maybe Nintendo, but like Nintendo has been doing the same things since the 80s. So like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying like Nintendo isn't doing a good job being diverse. I'm just saying like, out of the other companies that we think of, you look at Sony, they're all third-person action games, right? Like almost every single one of them.
Yeah.
Microsoft, they have a pretty diverse portfolio, but like you think of Halo and Gears, those are shooters. And
I think their diversity is about to start, but I mean, they have diversity, but they're definitely going to add more options to it now.
The thing with Capcom is that when Capcom kind of started, you know them as the Disney company, because most of their titles were Disney, and outside of that, it was Mega Man.
I don't think anybody thinks of them as the Disney company.
No, you're just thinking about.
I'm talking about in the 80s, a lot of games that came out of Capcom were Disney titles. DuckTales, Tailspin, a lot of their Yonori is Pizza Hut, but a lot of games, and if it wasn't Mega Man, it was Ghouls and Ghosts. And I think when they got to the 16-bit, that's when you started seeing Strider, because really nobody don't talk about Strider on the NES. They don't really talk about it in the arcade games.
I don't think anybody talks about Strider anyway.
I talked about it on the Sega Genesis.
But if you really think about Capcom, when it was on the NES, they was doing a lot of licensed stuff, and it was a lot of Disney. When even in 16-bit, like Aladdin on Super NES, but when they started getting to PlayStation, Capcom changed their whole thing with Resident Evil, and some other titles that they do. They was getting more into the survival horror genre in that. And now, if you look at the modern games of Capcom, because they did have a downtime where really Capcom wasn't hitting it like they used to back in the olden days, they kind of got their they got their creativity back, and they got their love back that they was missing out back from the 80s. When you heard Capcom, you was going to get a good product back in the day.
See, you accused them of releasing Disney games, and now I'm looking like 1941, 42.
Yeah.
Let's see.
I'm saying they were known as a lot of Disney stuff, because when we talk about Capcom, I bet you we'll talk more about DuckTales before we talk about 1942.
Commando, Bionic Commando. Crap. Okay, there go the Disney games: DuckTales, Chip 'n Dale's Rescue Rangers, Darkwing, Bionic Commando again shows up. Breath of Fire, that was 93.
Right, and that was PS1. That's why I said when they got to older systems, Breath of Fire was Famicom. Breath of Fire was Super Nintendo. I'm thinking of Breath of Fire 3. I'm sorry. And Street Fighter definitely was a big thing for Capcom. I'm just talking about definitely back in the day. It was known as that before they got to the new systems and they started doing their own thing. I'm not knocking Capcom, but they had a transition of games. And now that we see them now, they're back. They're kind of back to having that gaming love that we gave them back in the day.
And the one thing to note, Capcom had a terrible atrophy of titles and stuff. There was a time when all Capcom was known for was Street Fighter. There was a time when Capcom was known for Street Fighter, and then Devil May Cry happened and Resident Evil happened, and that kind of pulled them out, but they were still atrophying because they got rid of studios like Clover, which had Okami and all sorts of these other games and all that stuff. They atrophied for a while, and now they're like one of the most successful companies right now in the late 2010s.
The sales numbers, and I really give it up to Monster Hunter doing that. And I can't really say.
Oh, by the way, you're welcome, Capcom. As a Monster Hunter fan.
Because this is the thing with Capcom, and I always use this even with Square Enix and stuff. I know a lot of people don't associate Capcom with Nintendo a lot back in the day, but it feels like when a lot of studios were putting their stuff on their handhelds, it was gaining them money. It was gaining them interest. Square Enix didn't believe Bravely Default would sell the way that it did. And look at the numbers that it did. Monster Hunter 4 got me and you talk about this all the time, LeRon. Monster Hunter 4 got people into the Monster Hunter series who were buying 3DSs just to play Monster Hunter.
Well, it's because nerds
Monster
like
Hunter
it's because
has been
nerds
out.
it's because nerds like me were telling them to buy the game because like if you look at Monster Hunter's track history as far as being reviewed, Monster Hunter has like some of the most dismal reviews until Monster Hunter Tri came out, and even Monster Hunter Tri's reviews weren't even all that great. It was basically word of mouth and like when I turn around. Like, because I remember selling this game at GameStop, like back when the PSP ones were out there. When I turn around and tell somebody, like, "Hey, I've been playing this game since it was a PS2 game that nobody heard about, and it sells 5 million copies worldwide," everybody's like, "Wait, what game is this?" Stuff like that. But that's just me talking about Monster Hunter. A lot of people know they used to call me Captain Capcom at the time because like I used to, if Capcom had their name on it, I bought it, especially during the Dreamcast and PS1 era.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like and so it was great to see like a company that kind of started crashing and burning in the PS2 era, like return and flourish in the PS4 era.
I think mostly the PS3 and 360 era because like Dark Void and all those Resident Evil side games was like hurting Capcom badly.
Well, Resident Evil was hurting Capcom because Resident Evil was getting stale, and that's one of the reasons why I stopped playing a lot of the Resident Evil games until like these remakes came out.
I mean, I think the one thing that actually saved Capcom during that era was Street Fighter 4, like the resurgence of Street Fighter, definitely.
And then Street Fighter 4 had crashed and burned, so they had to do something different.
And Marvel vs. Capcom 3.
And we don't even acknowledge Phoenix Wright just on DS. Like there was a title nobody really cared for, but then the series, like people started buying that game for $20, and then the series just grew with the popularity, making Capcom money. Go ahead, Jesse. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
What I would really actually like to see them do is, because they're with all the good graces that they're kind of in right now. Mm-hmm. I think that they could go further and actually, I'd like to see them reboot the Power Stone.
Yeah.
Series.
Oh yes.
Yeah. Like because I mean they've only made 2 of them, correct? And like that. Yeah. There hasn't really been one yet, and like as much as people love fighting games, I feel like that was different enough that it interested people that weren't really into fighting games.
It's almost a Smash Brothers effect.
I was just about to say that.
It's not, well, part of that, and I even think just the success was ARMS, because ARMS really, in a way, as crazy that people won't see it, like ARMS was more arcadey and kind of just like weird and something different, and Power Stones was like a weird different style kind of game. And when it came out, it had a following, even though it was low, but it still has a following. When 2 came out, if you could get you a copy, you was going to enjoy that game too. And now people are still just like, if they were supposed to come up with a Power Stone 3, of course people would be the first thing, bring it out to everything or bring it out to Switch for some unknown reason. Mm-hmm. People, I think now will go and buy that game. I think
still the first and the second one are still gold standards. Mm-hmm. Like you pay like I think it's probably like a couple $100 to buy that if you can find it.
Whatever Marvel vs. Capcom 2 is selling as, like, for an original Dreamcast disc, that's probably the same price like Power Stone 1 and Power Stone 2 are selling for.
I wonder how much Tatsunoko vs. Capcom is selling. They gotta want that game to come back.
How do you spell that? I'm gonna look it up right now.
Tatsunoko.
Tatsunoko. Tatsunoko. The only reason why I even give them credit is because like they came out with the Macross anime, which is Robotech, so that's why they get my love.
Wow. We're gonna have to do that for VCAP. We're gonna have to watch the Robotech.
What, Robotech? Oh, I don't even need to watch Robotech. Like Robotech is burnt. Which movie?
I hate to bust your bubble, but a new copy on eBay right now is $26.
Are you serious?
For Tatsunoko versus Capcom?
Yeah.
Well, you know why though?
Because nobody knows what Tatsunoko is, and everybody knows who Marvel is.
Well, yeah, exactly. That's the main reason right there. But also a fighting game that was just on the Wii. No.
Yeah, that's
no.
Which ended up changing the way that Capcom was doing their fighting games, in a sense.
No, they weren't. No, they weren't throwing all their money. They weren't throwing all their money on the
gameplay.
Wii.
I'm talking about gameplay. They were still doing 6 buttons with Marvel vs. Capcom 2, and then when Tatsunoko came out, they were
doing 4 button, because remember the Marvel vs. Capcom 2 was built on the Naomi engine, which is Dreamcast.
They was doing 6 because you had to press 2 buttons to tag out your partner.
Okay, it's still a 4 button control scheme though.
Mm-hmm.
But they had like
it's not like if your layout and you've got the third and 6th button, to the side. It was still the 2 button. Marvel vs. Capcom and Marvel vs. Capcom 2 was built on Dreamcast technology, so it was built on the 4 button system. We just got lucky when our Dreamcast came out and we actually had the 2 triggers.
But
yeah, we just got lucky on that.
Because I thought it was originally 6 buttons. I thought it was like light, medium, and fierce for attacks, for punches and kicks.
No, it was light and it was fierce, but you press the light button twice and you did your mid attack.
You guys are nerds.
Yeah, I'm not going.
Welcome to Bush's podcast.
Every fighting game to me is press A until I die.
The ones I can't stand are fighting games where you have to press a button and block. Okay, I immediately get my behind thrashed as soon as I have to press a button.
No, don't you dare say that, because I said you play Tekken 7 and you are super good.
Tekken 7 has the same convention as Street Fighter though. You press back to block. You don't press a whole button. No, Virtual Fighter you press. Virtual Fighter and Soul Calibur, you press whole buttons to block.
I thought it was Tekken 7.
Tekken has never had that. As a matter of fact, Tekken is one of those games where you don't even have to press a button and your character will automatically block certain things.
That is true.
Yeah, because if you don't do any inputs in the controller, it will block automatically. But if you're trying to push an input while you're getting attacked, then you don't
get tagged.
Block. Yeah.
You get tagged. Hold on, a la Heavenly Sword, Ninja Theory's first game. It's such a good discussion.
The first Power Stone right now you can actually get for like $75, so it's dropped down in price quite a bit.
That's
for Dreamcast. The Power Stone 2 though is still holding pretty. It says it's trending around $140. I see some people with both of them, original copies of both of them, for selling for $500.
I know they were. I know
maybe it's
like really limited. That
maybe
one
it's
was
time for me. Maybe it's time for me to put these Dreamcast games that I have up for sale, because I have an original Marvel vs. Capcom 2. I have an original Power Stone 1. I have an original.
Don't you dare! Don't you dare!
Do it! I did it. I paid for my Series X and all the accessories and games I needed.
Maybe this is how I pay for my AMD graphics card.
Y'all are killing my soul right now.
Well, I mean, it's necessity. Like, it's not even just the want to do it. It's more like the necessity. Like I'm sitting on Dreamcast games. I don't have a Dreamcast because like every time I run across a Dreamcast, it doesn't work.
My Dreamcast still works.
I've got a working one.
I know.
Y'all trying to make me pony up on some money. I'm not picking up what you put.
I already know good and well. I'll pack my Dreamcast and ship it off to you.
About 5 years ago, I just replaced all the pins in my NES, so it works like it's brand new.
Ooh.
Nice.
So
I'm sorry. I just have emulators for all the older stuff. If it was pre PS1, I've got emulators.
You have not emulators.
The thing is like, it's for me now. It's just kind of like I was looking at all my Nintendo 64 games, which I have a lot, and they're all complete in box. And I was like, ooh, let's weigh the options here.
You're sitting on a gold mine.
I know. I mean, I would keep like I was looking through all my games. I'm like, I'll keep the ones that mean a lot to me. But I don't need 50 and 64 games, right? Like, I just don't, I have all, like, most of the games I have on Virtual Console on my Wii or my Wii U, right? Like, if I really want to play them that bad, and I'm sure an N64 something will come to Switch at some point. And,
will it? I don't know.
I mean, I don't
Nintendo-
know. Like, that's the
Nintendo-
thing. It's like, I really don't know. But
Yeah.
at the same time, it's like, how much longer is my N64 going to work? You know, and I'm just at that point where I'm cleaning out everything, you know, and if they're complete in box and that's what people are looking for, you know.
Make some money off of it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I apparently I picked up a Dreamcast because I bought the Dreamcast when it day one when it first came out.
Yeah.
Like I was all in on that console, but I did give it to one of my friends. He had it for quite some time. So, but I did recently, within the last couple of years, buy a new one. And what I'm finding is I bought it at a good time because I think I only spent $70 for mine. And now it looks like it's
Well,
anywhere from 100 to more.
Yeah. It's,
LeRon, if you do it, make right choices. That's all.
Wait. So
Because
if I start selling my games,
just sell them to Ed. He'll buy them for a premium.
shoot, I'm almost tempted to bust out the box in the closet because I still have original Dreamcast games. I still have original PS1 games. I'm talking about original, not greatest hits versions. of these.
Yeah, I had
actual cardboard ones. The big
No.
ones.
No. Okay, maybe not those. Those are too damn cumbersome.
Yeah, I have like all my PS1 games were Black Label.
Yeah.
Cause see, even though I said it's hurting my soul, when Corey was just like, I sold this, I was like, yes. I was being the cheerleader. So I would be your cheerleader if you sell your Dreamcast.
The one Dreamcast game I probably will not get rid of is Project Justice because that game rode me out to the end of my Dreamcast life cycle. Like I love the Rival School series.
Yeah.
Do you have Skies of Arcadia?
I don't have. I sold that one when the GameCube version came out.
Oh, okay. Because that one's worth a good.
Oh, I know it's worth a
chunk
good.
of
I know it's
money,
worth a
too.
good. I know it's worth a good penny. I know it is, but I sold that one. With the GameCube.
I thought the Dreamcast. I thought the GameCube one was more than the Dreamcast one.
I don't know.
I'm just at that point where I just need to start looking
house.
at. Yeah.
And as far as PS1 games are concerned, no one's getting my original Final Fantasy VII, my Final Fantasy IX, or my Final Fantasy Tactics. Those are never going on sale.
You cannot sell Tactics at all.
The three games I kept.
And Vagrant Story. I forgot about that one too.
The four games I kept for my PS1 were I kept Final Fantasy 8, 9, 007 Racing because it was the first PS1 game I ever owned, and what was the other game? There's one more down there, I forget. But everything else, I'm like, this is fair game.
Actually, now I think about it, I still have a lot of the Square Enix titles. 'Cause I still have an original Einhander, and I still have an original Parasite Eve.
Yes.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah,
this one was In the Zone by Konami, the basketball game. I can't believe I won a sports game. Oh, go ahead, Jesse.
Yeah, the GameCube version of Skies of Arcadia is going for about $60 more, and the Dreamcast one is still close to around $100.
Okay. Well, everybody, we're going to get into that was like half of the show, but that was such a good discussion. I love stuff like that. We're going to get to our gaming get down. We're going to come with one game each because we have got some topics out of this world. We got a good mini boss talk for you guys. So I'm actually going to start with LeRon. I'm going to go last because I know I'm going to get some upsets about some things. But LeRon, what is
wait? How you going to get upsets when you're only
In other
mentioning
words,
one game?
Ed wants to have the last word, and then
I know.
and then go to the next segment so we can't argue.
First of all, hold on. First of all, boss, you are evil because we was talking about it. He was just like, do it.
Wait,
No,
I forget. What did I do? What did I do?
You were just like, you said a certain phrase about the game that I was talking about. You just like, do it. Talk about it. Do it.
Now I gotta look this up because now I don't remember.
But go, LeRon. Go.
Okay, I'm kicking it old school right now. I'm on Mass Effect 1 because I had to fix some issues that were going on with my original playthrough of Mass Effect in 4K, and especially now that I know that it'll be at least late next year before the HD remasters come out. So So I'm back. So I'm back on Mass Effect 1, so I can continue creating content and getting it up on there because by the time we get to our book party, our book club. I'm sorry, book party. Book club.
Party.
I want to be in the middle of Mass Effect 2.
Yeah, I'm going to be starting it tomorrow night with Mass Effect 1. And then be bouncing it between that and Breath of the Wild. Because I'm going to try to finish all 3 games. Or at least trying to finish part of 2 by my end of the vacation. Because I'm taking another vacation the week that we do the discussion for it.
Man, dude, does your job like you? It sounds like you're taking a lot of vacations back to back.
I have 4 weeks of paid vacation that I need.
I feel like they're giving you just enough rope to hang yourself with.
All this. No, they already know that I barely take vacation and I'll come in and stuff. So I've earned a lot of PTO. So they're gonna be like, "Yeah, Eddie, go take it." Because whatever I can't carry over, I'll lose. So what my Blacktail is gonna do once again, my Blacktail is gonna get paid by sitting home, playing games, eating snacks, and hosting podcasts. That's what I'm going to
eat some snacks.
Yes. Jesse, what game have you get? What game had you get down?
I am still grinding away at Fortnite's Battle Pass. So I'm in the process of finishing the gold section. So after you finished the regular Battle Pass. Mm-hmm. Then you got silver costumes for all of the superheroes that you unlocked, that you unlocked throughout the battle pass. And then it's gold, and then after that I think there's some like more unique outfits, but because I've been like kind of not playing it as much this week, but if I, played when I had the free time, I could like unlock 1 level a day, and because I just want to try to get all the stuff that you can get and make the most of the $8 or whatever that it costs for the battle pass. Which in like when you look at other battle passes and stuff, I feel like that this is such a great amount of money that you paid for what you're getting. I mean, $8.
It sounds cheap. Like it's very affordable.
Yeah, it's so what it is you pay $8 to get 1,000 V-Bucks. Mm-hmm. But the battle pass itself only costs 900 V-Bucks. So you're still left with 100 V-Bucks. Plus, if you were to play through the whole entire battle pass, and not spend any of the credits that you get through the battle pass, you can actually buy the next battle pass with the stuff you get. So technically, if you play it right, you can put $8 in, and that will just continue you to constantly play it every single season without ever having to pay again. If you continue to play it. Yeah. But I did buy a couple levels just because I wanted to get a little bit ahead. Mm-hmm. In the beginning, but yeah, so I've just been playing that. It's been fun. Like I really like what the whole using of the superpowers. Like you've got they just recently added Wolverine's superpowers, and man, is he a beast of a boss to try to beat on. So like it's really cool. I really like what they're doing with this. So you have Iron Man. You have Wolverine now. You have Doctor Doom.
Didn't they just add Blade too?
Yeah, Blade's a character that you can buy the skin for and stuff. Like that's a separate thing. You can't unlock him through the battle pass, but you have to pay for him outright.
Oh, okay.
But But again, their prices on that stuff too aren't too bad. I think to get the amount of V-Bucks that you would need to get him, I think it's like probably maybe $16 or something. I don't know. I don't remember. But so yeah, but like it's really cool. And then they have these like what is it called? I think they're called like the Gatherers or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
There's these like little, it's like this big floating like alien like robot thing that lets these other little ones out that shoot lasers out. And so yeah, so they have all those characters throughout the map, and they're actually like they're bosses. Like they have like really high
hit points
level, hit point bars and stuff. And what makes Wolverine so hard is, you know, like in the comics, he can heal like just automatically. And so like you have to constantly stay on attacking him or otherwise he'll heal. So he's really hard to defeat by yourself, because that time that it takes you to reload, he's healing himself.
Is it
so?
Do you still have to like ring closing in, or is like almost like completely different?
Yeah. It's no. These are just things that are on the map while you're playing. So
okay.
Yeah, you could like run into those and be dealing with that while you're also dealing with people shooting at you. Like it can get pretty chaotic, especially. And then another thing too, there's also so there's like what the heck is their name? It's Stark Industries, you know, like he has his whole building like on the map. And then he's got his robots as well that are walking around certain areas protecting stuff, and usually where they are, that's where you can find superpowers. So like yeah, you can use Storm's powers, you can use Wolverine's powers, you can use Doctor Doom's powers, you can use Iron Man's powers, you can use Thor's powers, you can use Groot's powers. You can use like all the characters' powers basically, and they have an actual separate modes where you get randomized. You get whatever, you know, 4 different superpowers, and then it's just like 2v2 where you're just both you and another person have these superpowers, and then you're fighting each other in a small circle that kind of slowly closes. And that's a lot of fun too. Like it's like out of all, I haven't played like a lot of Fortnite, but out of all the times that I have played Fortnite and they had like special event things or whatever going on or themed things going on, I think by far this is probably the best time to really give Fortnite a shot, even if it's not really your thing, because I do feel like the stuff that they got going on in it right now really does give a very unique and cool experience that that they really haven't had, I don't feel like, you know, before, or at least when I've played. There's a lot I've missed, you know, because I just haven't played it that much. You know, I don't know what it was like during the Batman stuff and all that, which you know, now I kind of wish I was playing during then, because Batman's still my favorite. But
well, you could just buy the Batman thing, I think.
Well, you can, but but the way they do their stuff, though, you can only get it when it's available. Like and who knows when they'll have the Batman stuff available to buy, like if ever. You know, that's the thing. It's really difficult. Like they put Captain America up recently because they're doing the Marvel stuff, but I mean, otherwise, who knows when that will be available to buy again either, you know. Yeah. Like, I mean, what they're doing, I mean, that's, you know, if you really want something, you're gonna pay for it. Oh, but like I said, it's they're reasonable. I mean, you know, these things like Marvel stuff and all that, obviously, of course, that's going to be more expensive because because of licensing and stuff. But if it's a game you're going to play and honestly, I feel like a lot of the prices are reasonable.
Further discussion we're going to have later on in this episode, and people will find out why. But boss, what have you been getting down to?
What have I been playing? I mean, I played a little game. I've been playing the Avengers, but it keeps hard crashing on me. Like, it just keeps crashing on me.
It's still having issues.
Yeah, after 2 updates, I'm just having like a really hard time staying in the game. So I'm like, I think I'm just gonna play this on Series X and whatever else, because like it's just not. Hopefully they fix it in 8 weeks or so, because like I'm just having a really. I've even tried uninstalling it and reinstalling it, and it's just not working.
Still having problems.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's that, but I've also been really just playing a lot of Destiny. I'm like in that. I really wanted to play Avengers, but I'm in that in between time of like I don't really have any new games to play, and I don't have very much time to like sit down and start something brand new. So I'm just like, well, I'm just gonna go through Destiny and do my weeklies and grind it out.
Call it a night.
Yeah, I did get get Thunderlord this week though, so I'm pretty excited for that. It's a heavy machine gun that shoots out electrical bullets, so it shocks and paralyzes enemies. It's fun.
I like the actually like the action figure or the statue that you got.
Yeah, I did get that. It's coming today.
Really, really cool.
It's coming today between 4:15 and 7:15 p.m.
Nice.
Yes. If you guys have not seen it, check out the Taurus Casual podcast. I believe you got a picture of it on that Twitter page, Corey.
I mean, it's on my personal one, but it's just the Exo Stranger. For people who don't know who that is, it's just this very ominous character from Vanilla Destiny 1 that they swore they weren't going to do anything with, and now she's back and actually featured front and center on the box art for Beyond Light. And the last episode of Tower Casual is actually, we had a really interesting discussion about how the Exo Stranger might actually be directly linked to one of everybody's favorite characters in Anna Bray. So you should check out that lore corner as well. It's very good.
Yes,
their brother.
Yes,
it's her. The speculation is that the Exo Stranger is actually her sister resurrected. So.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, everybody check out the latest episode of Tower Casual. It's on our YouTube feed channel, and it's available on iTunes and other podcast apps. Or
Ed's really trying to get this podcast moved along.
Speaking of, I've been so bad, like, because there's a lot of episodes of different shows and stuff that I still need to listen to. I have if you look at my podcast feed, I have about 43 different podcasts that I listen to.
Yeah.
So, and the radio show that I pay $5 a month to have the daily podcast of is like 4 hours every day by itself. So that I actually instead of listening to I'm so far behind, I haven't listened to Thursday or Friday's episode of that show because I was checking out the 1v1 with Nelly and stuff. Yes. And that's such a great episode. I feel like me and her could talk Resident Evil and stuff.
Yeah, she's the Resident Evil resident for the Crossroads podcast.
Yeah, and I listened to the most recent episode of Crossroads as well, and I really enjoy your guys' show. You guys do an amazing job.
Oh, thanks.
And you're an amazing host. You do a really good job of doing
really? Because I feel like I critique myself every single episode. I'm like those actors, they just act the role and they try not to rewatch the episode.
All right,
well,
Corey.
I mean, there's obviously you really haven't been doing it that long, and you have it already, but like, as far as like trying to like once you get everything like figured out of how you really want to do things and organize it and stuff, I'm sure that like all that will come in time. But as far as like actually doing the role of being, like, I think you do a great job of it. So
okay, cool.
Yeah, I think like everyone on that show, and like Austin and stuff, you guys adding him, that and yeah, it was a fun episode, that the last one, so I enjoyed it.
Yes.
Thanks. Thank you.
Well, I'm going to get into my game that I get down, and I've been playing Dead Space.
Nice.
So, Dead Space is. Okay.
Wait. Why are you
cheering yet?
Okay. So, Dead Space is a decent game right now. At this time, I do not like this camera control at all. There are times that the camera will zoom in, and it's not my fault or anything. The camera will zoom in, and I can't see the monsters. And so when I'm trying to move and get everything, the camera starts acting up, and I'm like, "What in the world is going on?" I'm hitting them in the right place. I can't really use the melee button because they keep blocking, and it's frustrating when a camera does not work right. And I'm just like, okay, I'm still gonna play the game. I still think it's a good game. It's not on the level of I told Corey this, and I'm guilty of saying this. I told him, I'm just like, just as him and Jesse don't like Resident Evil 4, it's becoming on that level of me with Dead Space if this camera keeps acting up.
I'm hanging up now.
Hold on. But I'm still in the beginning of the game. I really want to play everything through and give it a fair shot. I'm not saying it's a bad game or nothing. Definitely not saying it's a bad game at all. It's just that the camera is a frustrating mess. But with saying that, what I have played of it, I am enjoying. I love, hitting their body parts and stubbing them on the head to get rid of them. It does have some scares here and there, but I'm just not like, I'm scared. No, it's not doing anything like that. But it is a good horror game. It's not better than Resident Evil 4 in my opinion. I think RE4 takes that space. I think 4 gave me more like horror in a sense, and definitely with that garden level with the wolves and their tentacles coming out, like that still gets me. Dead Space is not given to me just yet, but I love just shooting the enemies and stumping on them. Like it's like I said, it's not a bad game. It's just that the camera is frustrating me. Okay, LeRon, please critique. Go ahead, let me have it.
Well, first of all, I'm just going to warn you right now that I'm going to get Logan, and we're going to come after you. Okay, so
There's a hit on that.
You're talking. So it boggles my brain that you're saying that it controls horribly than Resident Evil 4.
No. I said the camera. I didn't say anything about the gameplay. The gameplay is fun. I have no problem with the gameplay. It's the camera.
Okay, so I think the thing here is that you love Resident Evil 4 so much because the reason why Dead Space did have more critical acclaim in certain regards
because of Resident Evil 4.
Well, because they tried to.
They were trying to go for. Was this no? It wasn't Serious Sam. They were trying to go for System Shock.
No, they weren't. But then they weren't. Visceral Games said they were trying to actually recreate the Resident Evil 4 formula, but the one thing.
That was before they were trying to do System Shock. They automatically said, because there's a video out there about Dead Space, that they literally was trying to go for System Shock, and then Resident Evil 4 came out, and they were just like, oh crap. And then so they started playing all through Resident Evil 4, and then that's how Dead Space game.
Okay,
There's a video out of it. That's all.
No. I saw the video recently. Basically, what happened was when they were Redwood Studios before they were called Visceral. Redwood Studios was tasked with making a new System Shock game, and I can't remember for sure what was going on with it, but there were certain things that just wasn't panning out the way it was, and so so EA, the shareholders for EA were starting to lose faith in that System Shock game. And at the time, I think his name is Paputsits or something like that. I can't remember for sure.
I think so.
But he was telling them hey, like we have an idea that might save it. But they didn't want to hear about it because they were like, oh, you're developing stuff outside of time, and we need you to just concentrate on this. But at the same time, they were also losing interest in it. So ultimately, when the powers that be, EA were like, you know what, we're going to scrap System Shock. This is when they slid their idea for Dead Space in. So they were working on System Shock, but they were also doing a labor of love project on their own time that was called Dead Space.
Because they said they wanted the team to play all the System Shock, and then they was going to incorporate ideas from that to make Dead Space. And then I think the director said, then Resident Evil 4 happened, and he was just like, old stuff. Yeah. He said, old stuff, this is it. And then I think that's when they tried to do their version of Resident Evil 4. Yeah, but the one thing that he said that was the most infuriating thing about what they were trying to do with Dead Space is like they were copying the formula for Resident Evil 4, and they could not stand that when you had to start shooting, you had to stand still.
Yeah.
You had to stand still.
Yeah.
And they redid the formula to where you can move and shoot. And you know what? That was the one thing, because in all seriousness, like besides the fact that Resident Evil 4, when I played it on GameCube originally, like I had to put it down because it gave me 3D motion sickness. The camera was too tight. So when you're pressing the back C stick and the and I can't remember which button it was, but he does the quick turn, the about face thing.
Yeah, I think it was A, like B or A.
That stuff was giving me vertigo, and I ultimately never have, to this day, I've never beaten Resident Evil 4. And there have been many chances, and I've heard that the Switch version fixed a whole bunch of problems with Resident Evil 4 from the GameCube version.
It's because I think it's the Wii version. All the updated versions are based off the Wii. They're based off the Wii versions, like just the things that they fixed, not the controls, obviously, but just, things that they fixed.
Yeah, but also the other problem is Resident Evil 4 had it left a very bad taste in my mouth, and like I was already telling you, like I said earlier, like the Resident Evil formula for me was dying. Like it just didn't have the appeal anymore, and so I stopped playing a whole bunch of survival horror games. Silent Hill could die in a fire after that.
Silent Hill is that's a whole nother podcast of craziness.
Fatal Frame, dead to me. Like all those survival horror games, I didn't actually get back into survival horror until Dead Space came out.
Did you have a 360?
Me, no, I didn't. I played on PS3. I know Dead Space was actually built on 360's hardware. Yeah. I know that.
Dead Space 2 came out for PS3 and 360 because Dead Space 3 also
I'm trying to think. Did Condemned come out for PS3?
No, Condemned only came out for 360.
Yeah, because LeRon, I mean, there's parts of it that kind of feel outdated now, but Condemned for me on 360, like that, because I'm kind of in the same boat as you. I've always liked it was Condemned 2 that came out for PS3 and 360. Okay. It was the second one. Yeah. The first one okay. So the first one, that's right. The first one was exclusive to 360.
Because I heard that, like me and you talking about Condemned, Jesse. That game got tons of great reviews. It's still crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it was doing something like just really cool that like just you really hadn't like the whole like because the whole part about that game was just you're walking through these abandoned buildings and it's all dark and you just see someone running across the hall down the hall, and then like just crazy people just coming out of the woodwork just running at you with melee weapons trying to attack you and stuff. Like it was just, they did such a good job of that like crazy person stuff that I didn't really appreciate as much in the Resident Evil games as they kind of moved into the more crazy person. But yeah, that's what happened with me, LeRon, is like when Resident Evil 4 came out, like I loved Resident Evil, and to me Resident Evil was zombies. And then when they made it these crazy people, I was just like, I get you're trying to like attract a new type of person, but like I didn't really care for that as much.
Yeah, it was more of an experiment of them changing the gameplay style, because everything was still that turn-based kind of way, and this is when Capcom was trying to appeal more to American players, and because
and then they ended up losing.
Like that.
They lost one of their biggest Resident Evil fans, as far as I'm concerned.
And that's when that conversation of why like does Japan still have a place in American games, because a lot of stuff that was coming out with Resident Evil, and definitely Resident Evil 5 and 6, was that everything had to be so action packed, and it lost its charm of what made the Resident Evil series. This is what would have helped soften the blow for me from going from Resident Evil 3 Code Veronica to Resident Evil 4. This is what would have helped soften the blow if they kind of given us a heads up that they were taking a narrative in a different direction, and that way, saying they're taking a narrative in a different direction could have got me ready for the gameplay being taken in a different direction. Because in all seriousness, the Resident Evil 2 and 3 remake are basically the fully realized Resident Evil 4 engine. And guess what? You can move and shoot at the same time in that game. In those games. And don't forget that Resident Evil 4 had like 4 versions of them.
When I talk about when I talk about at its core, though, like Resident Evil 4 was kind of like the cliff that dropped off like a lot of the fan base. Like, I mean, it picked up a whole new audience, and that's wonderful and stuff like that.
It's weird because like it changed a lot of games in a sense.
It was another pioneer. But you want to know the crazy part though? In the history of Resident Evil, though,
did it take Game of the Year also?
Probably for Nintendo.
No, actually for the whole year.
What year did it come out?
I just had all that Capcom stuff pulled up too.
Maybe 2000. Oh, but go ahead, LeRon. If you go ahead.
Well, what I was gonna say though, like a little history lesson though, like when they were trying to figure out the next thing to do with Resident Evil,
2005
after Code Veronica, actually the game that had the skeleton of what was still like the old school Resident Evil stuff, but wound up they didn't like the idea, that became Devil May Cry.
Right, because Kamiya was working on it, and it was going to be like that kind of action thing, and they didn't go for it.
And Devil May Cry is a whole new beast, but
still think DLC Devil May Cry is the best.
God of War 1 was Game of the Year that year on most outlets.
Okay. I know Resident Evil 4 was up there.
Yeah.
So I didn't know if it took.
I mean, it no doubt it has a lot. There's still a lot of people that if you say you don't like that game, they will
crucify you.
They're gonna come at you with the bonk stick.
But the thing, like one last thing I just wanted to say too is like, like I think like now. Like I love 7, like Resident Evil 7 is amazing, but I don't look at it. I just don't look at it as a Resident Evil game. I look at it as a survival horror, first person. It's an amazing, phenomenal, outstanding game, but I still don't really consider it a Resident Evil game.
I still consider it as a Resident Evil game, but I feel like this is the next evolution of that.
I wish they would stop that, because I'm not a fan of the first person stuff. So Resident Evil 7 kind of lost me the same way Resident Evil 4 lost me.
Well, do you think Resident Evil 7 was first person solely based on PlayStation paying for VR support?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Because I feel like 8's going to be VR also, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
But I
Eight
think
is
it will-
going to
I
be
think it will be
weird. I know.
VR on.
I know we talked about it, Jesse. That it's beautiful. It's beautiful for its art style, but horror and its gameplay of what it's going to try to do.
Yeah, it's
It
it's
feels-
the detail. It's the intricate detail that they've
Yeah.
done. They were able to do very well, and like it's just a very ambitious game in general. Like that's why I appreciate it so much. Like like I said, I personally don't think it's a Resident Evil game. I mean, it has obviously a lot of the core things that make it a Resident Evil game, but like I still love those original camera stuff or the new stuff, like the new camera stuff on the remakes. But like I just 4, 5, and 6 I didn't care for. And I like 7 and 8, or 8 looks good, but I don't know.
LeRon, get the last word, and all I can say is I'm going to play for more Dead Space.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not being that harsh on the game. I just wish that the camera was better. I'm going to play automated. In fact, Jesse, I think I told you, or I might have not told you. I got it pinned as I got all 3 games pinned on my Xbox One, so I could be like bam, 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 bam.
I know a lot of people like 2 more. Most people I feel like 2 more.
It probably just depends on when you jumped in.
It's hard for me. It's hard for me because I think I like 1 and 2 about the same, because for me they're just both such phenomenal games that I really can't pick.
And I like 2. Go ahead.
I like 2 a little bit more than I like 1, but I definitely love 1 because 1 actually got me back into survival horror games, and when you think because in all honesty, when I saw like the ad campaign for Dead Space 1, when I saw what they were trying to do, I was like, man, this is like Event Horizon meets Aliens. And I was like, I'm in, because like those are 2 of my like favorite like sci-fi movies, and I was like, if you got a game that can do something like this and not that Colonial Marines garbage, let's do this.
Oh, I will say, and we're gonna get into our mini boss talk. I still have that one for the Wii, the first-person shooter one, or the rail one.
Extraction.
Yeah,
Extraction was fun.
It's fun. It literally is fun. I will say that.
Nothing is more feels better in the Dead Space games though than when you're in zero gravity and you're just shooting limbs and pieces off of them, and they're all floating in different directions.
As far as my last word goes, it's honestly great that you are playing Dead Space 1. I can't believe you never played it up to this point before. I
didn't own the 360, so
you didn't have a PS3 either.
I had a PS3. I don't think Dead Space came to PS3.
It did.
It was a simultaneous launch across PC, PS3, and Xbox,
which was like a really big deal at the time because a lot of third-party games were being delayed because of how the PS4 or the PS3's processor worked.
Yeah,
BioShock, Mass Effect 2,
Yeah, but
no, it was the shell chip. That was it. Which we'll probably talk next episode, or because I really want to know from when we were talking about Nvidia and AMD, how IBM kind of, in a sense, was the chip for a lot of the consoles like Nintendo, and I think not so much Xbox. I know Nintendo, Sony used to use IBM, but then everything kind of changed.
The reason why is because IBM never continued their research and development into CPUs and graphics processors. That's the main reason. When you look at and shoot, like you notice, like none of them gotten in bed with Intel. You have you noticed that? And Intel is like technically like the end all be all when it comes to CPUs right now. Like I mean, AMD is just now starting to like jump across the fence and bloody their nose, in regard with the new Ryzen processors, but it's still all about graphics cards just have more power, and you can do more, out of it. So if they load their OS into one core of the graphics card, they still have all this other stuff they can do, to push the games.
Ready? That's how nerdy we get about video games and tech. So,
I mean, you got a PC guy here, so
yes, that is true. But we're gonna
get
into some mini boss. We're gonna get into some mini boss talk because Microsoft made moves. No, not all the pieces helped them get a checkmate. So what I mean by that is that Microsoft, if everybody already know the news, they brought ZeniMax for $7.5 billion. Their pre-orders were successful, but still has some problems. People have been wondering what Sony is going to be Sony and Nintendo's going to be doing about it. Their pre-order for their SSD 1TB Seagate card is available, but it's $219. Some people have been debating about price for that. So Microsoft has been doing some good, some confusing. I won't say bad. I would just say confusing.
Am I the only one that
go ahead,
got one? Am I the only one that had pre-orders go through?
Xbox. Yeah, you are. As a matter of fact, everything technology in the last 2 weeks that has been coming out that I've been trying to get on board, I have had zero luck. So PlayStation, graphics cards, Xbox. Shoot, my roommate told me he was trying to buy a new camera that got announced last week, and he can't get it.
Yeah, I had like an army of people trying to help me pre-order one, but like I got on, like as soon as it launched on Amazon, I had no problem getting it. Like, I must have just opened it like literally seconds after it went live, and I just went on and got it. Mm-hmm. Like I have
your
what?
I was about to say your RNG was just phenomenal. That's all.
Yeah,
yeah. And I told Corey I was going to pre-order because I'm just going to go to the store and buy it. I think they're going to set a lot of them aside. Because I'm like, Corey, when you said they're trying to do what, 2 million by the end of the year?
The only way they're going to be able to set them aside is if Microsoft and Sony say, hey, you have to have an allocation for walk-ins.
Microsoft already said that. They already said you have to. Microsoft already came out and said you will, like, if you're lucky. I mean, they are setting aside allocations for walk-ins on day one.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Sony's going to do the same thing.
Yeah.
Here's what I'm gonna say about Microsoft's moves though, because it's like when you're at a bar or at a club or something, and you notice that one girl who's tipsy and she's wearing the high heels that she should not be wearing when she's that level of tipsy. That's kind of what Microsoft's like last couple of weeks have been, because they poked fun at Sony for the pre-order fiasco, and then they damn near had a pre-order fiasco themselves.
Do you put that on Microsoft though, or do you put that on the stores not being ready for that?
I kind of do it on both, because when you turn around and boast that we will not have the same problem with our product,
they didn't technically. They didn't have stores sell it early, and because they threatened them, they said you do that and we're taking away your supply. They
were going to find
about it.
Microsoft said they were going to find them.
No, they were taking allocation away. They weren't going to.
They were going to take their product away.
I thought they said they were going to find it. And I know Sony's was weird, because I think after their presentation, and I might be wrong about this, didn't they say pre-orders was going to go live the next day?
Yeah, but then someone just sold it without the.
Right. So Walmart
basically
and them ended up doing all of that stuff. So that was on the retailers.
Someone else started it though.
Well, it wasn't. Okay, I kind of spoke about this on the PlayStation podcast. But basically, what happens is when you come to like media and it's called street dating. Basically, street dating is like an embargo. You cannot sell it, or you cannot go live with taking orders on it until a certain period. Mm-hmm. And typically, what happens is I learned about it in GameStop, where when someone breaks street date, what happens is somebody either accidentally sells one or they intentionally sell one before go time. And once that happens, that gives other retailers, as soon as other retailers find out, it gives them carte blanche to sell it. So with the PS4 problem, the PS4, the PS5. The PS5, I'm sorry. The PS5, it was they did their thing Wednesday night and said pre-orders go live 9 a.m. Eastern time Thursday. As soon as the show was over, like a European seller took orders before they were supposed to, and that caused a cascade effect to where like another distributor like started selling them, and then Walmart found out, and Walmart did it. So basically, one person broke street date, and when you break street date, that basically says everybody should start selling them, because basically the sales figures have to stay even. Like, you can't turn around unless you say that this one company has an exclusive to sell it now before everybody else does. Everybody has to have the same exact time to get the same exact sales numbers, because that's how the stock market works, and that's what street dating is all about. So as soon as someone broke street date, it just tells everybody, like, hey, open them up live.
Because Microsoft, when I was talking to Corey and Josh, they were just like, they have 15 Xbox Series X, and then they may have 2 or 3 of the Series S. And at the time I thought, I'm like, didn't they say they were supposed to be doing like 9,000 plus systems ready for pre-order? That was the confusing thing. Me and Corey.
No,
Corey
we told you.
I'm saying that I was confused about that, but you clarified it up for me. Where it was weird to see that GameStop, I guess walk-ins, maybe, I don't know, where they was gonna have they was gonna have a low quantity, but everybody else, all the pre-orders was gonna be done online. And I think because the online stuff, sites was crashing, some people was getting their order. I think some people now just finding out some of their orders are getting canceled.
I'm like definitely afraid of that, because I have 2 pre-ordered, right? Because like I'm saving one for Jesse, and I'm like really definitely afraid that it's like gonna get canceled. I was just wondering. I'm just, because when me and Corey was talking about it, and I mentioned the 9,000 thing, I thought that was going to be for the total pre-orders. This is not including Japan, but this was going to be UK and America, because I feel like 9,000 would have been enough for pre-orders, that they wouldn't have no problems.
Here's the thing, though. Of all these companies, it doesn't matter if it's Sony, if it's Microsoft, if it's Nvidia with their graphics cards, or Sony with their cameras and all that stuff. Here's the thing about it: we don't know how much allocation they actually have ready.
Yeah, that's the problem. That's really disappointing. Is they haven't said anything.
The speculation is Microsoft has more because they've been in production longer. That's the speculation.
Yes,
but also
the only thing Sony said was that they're going to have more available than they had of the PS4 at launch. And if I'm not mistaken, PS4 worldwide was like what, 3 million.
I think they sold through their pre-orders, and so I think their big boast was like, we sold 1 million units in the first day. And then like that first holiday season, they sold through like what, 3 million, I think.
Yeah.
And like speaking of allocation, like I went to my local GameStop, and they said they didn't know that they said they expected about 20 to 25 units. The door, like when they said, but we're not sure how many we're getting. We won't know until tonight. So they said, come back tonight and look at the sheet on our door. The door, they said, the sheet on the door said we have 10 Xbox Series X's and 4 Series S's. And then I, like the day the pre-orders went live, I went up there during my lunch break to see. They got 7 X's and 2 S's.
Oh, you want to know what you want to know though about that? There's a lot of videos and like people on YouTube talking about that, because apparently there's been a big issue with GameStop employees and stuff grabbing a lot of those and giving them to other people before they even go. Like they're literally holding them so they're not available for anyone. They're just giving them to other people, friends, stuff like that. So then when you come in, that's all they have. That's all they have, because they're holding some of those for other people.
And I know that a lot of people were just like, okay, they didn't get the pre-orders. We'll see. We'll play it by ear with the walk-ins. But a lot of people now feel like there's a wait and see approach for Series X and PlayStation 5. And I think
that has a lot to do with like people want to wait to see if a lot of people have issues getting first run consoles, right? Because
first run systems, yeah.
And like I don't know how true that is.
Honestly, I haven't had a day one launch since the original PS1 and then the original PS Vita. Like I typically wait on a lot of these systems, and and the fact that with the PS5 I'm willing to roll the dice, You know, like that's rare for me because I never get anything like first run.
Do you guys think that it's gonna probably pick up in December, like where they're not selling out? Do you guys think a lot of these systems are gonna be picking up next year because of the games that? I mean, for Series X and for PlayStation 5.
I think it's going to be a steady. I think it's going to be a steady flow for
sales,
and it will pick up more obviously as the bigger games come out and more bigger games get announced. But like especially for Xbox, I mean we've seen some stuff, and you have Halo and stuff, but like these bigger things that we know nothing about, like their studio that they. That's completely made up of just a whole bunch of people that they're still kind of figuring stuff out. I mean, like there's for both consoles, there's still so much, time that's going to have to go by before we really start getting next gen games.
And this is not a knock against Microsoft or anything. I just feel like right now they're in the position that a lot of people, they got just a lot of, even though backwards compatibility is going to be a big thing for Series X, I think that's going to probably be for a few weeks before like the must have first party games people really want. With PlayStation, I think depending on how Miles Morales do, I think PlayStation has more of a good future by the end of the year, but they really won't start re-rolling with stuff until next year, so everybody figure out what the heck Sony's doing with their backwards.
You think Miles Morales is going to be the game that makes Sony's year? I don't even.
To hold it out.
I think people are still mad that you like have to buy the Ultimate Edition to get the PS5 version of Spider-Man.
Yeah.
I think to hold it out, it's to like really showcase what PS5 could do. It may do it. It's not the Breath of the Wild. It's not the Breath of the Wild situation.
Oh no. If you guys
ended like that.
As a Sony person, like the game that's going to show you what the system can do is going to be Ratchet and Clank.
That's what I believe. I believe more Ratchet and Clank did Miles Morales.
I mean, I saw the tech review of Miles Morales, and it's amazing. It's amazing. Like I'm doing a deep dive into how they're doing the RTX because I already know like how much memory. How much VRAM the PlayStation and the Xbox have. I'm trying to do a deeper dive into how they got the RTX stuff because the RTX stuff is looking nice on it, but there's also some things I'm seeing. It's like this looks like a tech trick and not so much like pure hardware.
And I think Microsoft is. I still believe that they're gonna have a great 21. I don't know if Halo Infinite is gonna pop it off just yet. I have more faith in Hellblade 2 is gonna really pop it off. I feel
that's
like
not a 2021 game either. I don't think.
You don't think, but but by the looks of it, and I know that we had our discussions about Hellblade because I was just like, I feel like it's more of a cutscene than actual gameplay. I think once they really show what's in that game is running, it's going to be jaw-dropping, gorgeous, and crazy. I believe in Ninja Theory with their artwork and their tech and how they handle stuff. I believe fully, and I think they're going to really showcase what Series S is going to do. They're not going to push it to the limit yet. But once they get really into learning about what they can do in the system, it's going to be bunkers good.
I think.
Wait, isn't Hellblade 2 running on the new Unreal Engine?
Yeah. That's what I was going to say.
Trust me.
It's one of the first.
That's what I was going to say.
It's going to be phenomenal.
I think Unreal can actually do a lot, outside of the system specs by itself, because it can you can take pictures of stuff and it'll render it in real time or something. Like you can import files and it'll try to render and guess what you know what I mean. Like it's that tech. There's something just really amazing about that tech, and
they're gonna be doing what like that. What's nice is that Unreal Engine, and like I said, it doesn't really matter how you get there, but like. I think PlayStation's going to, like I've said this a couple of times just from like stuff that I've kind of like watched like tech, breakdowns and things, but like PlayStation's going to kind of, I think, rely on Unreal Engine to get a lot of that stuff, whereas the Xbox can do like the, the artificial learning stuff and all that. Like a lot of the ray tracing and things like that, they'll have more power to do that stuff hardware wise. Yeah. Whereas just because that's why that extra power was in the Xbox is they wanted to power the ray tracing and the audio have its own power source. So it's because that's what a lot of people have complained about with ray tracing and PC is a lot of the times it wasn't given its own power source, and now with these new cards, like it's getting that beefy power source that it needs for ray tracing and everything else at the same time.
And not to knock Series X, because I feel like, and Jesse, you may agree with me, I feel like the medium is going to be leading Series X for this year, because on what they're doing and how that game is looking and what's going. That right now. That is because Gears Tactics, I'm going to buy Gears Tactics. I want Gears Tactics. I kind of really want it on Switch, but I will play Gears Tactics because I think that's an awesome game. I don't want Gears Pops along with Corey. We don't need to speak of that. But I feel like the medium is right now for Series X is going to lead that.
It's definitely showing the power, because I mean it's it's real. You have to have a good PC to be able to render two different worlds at the same time, and it's flexing. It's definitely flexing some stuff that that you only can really see in like powerful PCs. That's just not something that consoles have ever been really able to do.
Sidebar. Sidebar. Just to add on to Jesse's thing though, because Jesse said that. Do not expect 60 frames per second on that game.
Yeah.
That's all I'm gonna say. All right,
which game are we talking?
The medium.
Yeah.
And jumping quickly into the ZeniMax thing, because I know we got to some other topics. Yes, Bethesda bought ZeniMax, and it brought a lot of concern what Sony and what Nintendo's going to do. Me and Jesse had a discussion. We did have a little bit argument.
You know what Nintendo did do, Ed? You know how I like to update you on who Retro hires. You know who they did? They hired the lead environmental puzzle designer from God of War.
Okay.
Yeah, that is the new one. That is. Oh no, I thought they hired. Do they got two people from Santa Monica, or is it just that one guy?
I don't know. This is on Nintendo Life today. So he's been there since July, I guess. So
okay.
Anyways, continue. Sorry.
Me and Jesse had a discussion / argument / clarification because I made Jesse hot. And I apologize for that, Jesse. But but we talked and we clarified things. The thing with ZeniMax is it's a great thing. We both all can. I think we all can agree it's a great thing for Microsoft because we all celebrated this. It's great for Game Pass members. If you're not a Game Pass member, this is probably going to push you to get it. Definitely along with EA Play, getting Ultimate with xCloud and everything like that. I think I was speaking more of a popularity thing. I think with this move, I think people are going to be coming back to Bethesda and really start looking forward more to their games. It was more of a popularity thing.
Yeah, he said that Insomniac was far more popular than Bethesda games are.
And that was more people look forward to an Insomniac game. Definitely now on Sony, because like I said, we all was just waiting for Sony to buy Insomniac. That was a given. I think
I'm surprised.
We have been
for the longest time, I thought Sony owned Insomniac until they made Sunset Overdrive for Xbox.
Dude, the same thing. I thought that too. And it was more that Insomniac didn't have that many negative replies or anything. Sunset Overdrive got the negativity because people didn't like.
Well, it didn't really get negativity. It just didn't get.
The exclusivity got more negativity.
People were hurt by the exclusivity.
Yeah.
But when you're an independent studio, you make the deals that make sense to keep your lights on. You know what I mean? Like it just.
Well, I mean, anyone who gets upset about exclusivity, like that's the whole point of these consoles and stuff is them.
Yeah, that's why you buy one over the other.
Stuff. I mean, I just don't get it.
And it's weird because like it's something that we've been making games for Sony exclusively for years before they even the only game that they went out before they even did Sunset Drive, it was Fuse for EA, and that changed the whole thing. Everything else that Insomniac did, if you know who they are, they been putting their stuff out on Sony. They have never touched Nintendo at all. Not once have they put anything out. Insomniac became known as a company for working so well with Sony, and so
we don't know. Well, I mean,
they were working for whoever was willing to give them money to make something exclusive.
And there is a possibility Microsoft approached them first to get an exclusive, and it just happened to be something that they hadn't thought about pitching to Sony. So that's how that might be how they got that Sunset Overdrive. That might be exactly how. We don't know.
Yeah, and that's why I said when it comes to exclusivity, like jumping out of it, they only been working with Sony, and before they did anything else that I could remember was Fuse, and then they jumped to Microsoft for Sunset Overdrive before they went back to Sony to do Spider-Man. And then they ended up buying them. Like if we look at Insomniac list of games, most of them are probably going to be on Sony's products of systems. Mm-hmm. So with that popularity, people who look at Insomniac because of Sony, there's not so much negativity, and their quality has been really, really good.
I feel like the real
just has some ups and downs.
I feel like the real gist of this whole conversation is the fact that when the Microsoft ZeniMax thing went down, and that of course that pulled in Bethesda, and it didn't also get Obsidian technically.
Well,
no, they bought Obsidian last year.
Yeah,
okay.
They bought Obsidian. Yeah.
Okay, basically, the reason why it's really it is noteworthy, but one of the main reasons why it's noteworthy is because immediately, like, the Sony fan base just kind of lost its minds. It was a lot of people are afraid that games that they possibly play are never coming to never coming to the PlayStation again after this deal.
If you look at they did confirm, like, Microsoft does now own Fallout, Elder Scrolls, Doom, Wolfenstein, Dishonored, Prey. Wet, I think they said it was one of them. I'm like, nobody cares about Wet.
Which is crazy. Which is crazy because they now own Dishonored, but at the same time, Dishonored is getting yanked off of Game Pass.
I know. I'm telling you, dude, they're all going to come back by the first of the year. I bet they're going to start rolling these out, especially the games that I think they're going to roll out the games that have Series X enhancements first to Game Pass, and then start adding the back. Because I think a lot of people were expecting, like, oh, well, now that Microsoft owns Bethesda, where's Morrowind? Where's Oblivion? Where's Skyrim?
I want that original Prey 2 that they were working on, because now they own that, and now we can actually get a project that they wanted to make and not give us something that they were.
They didn't acquire the studio that was working on that, though. Human Head is not owned by Bethesda. They're not owned by Bethesda, though.
They're part of that acquisition, though. That Giant Bomb was talking about it.
Well,
they actually own them as well.
I think ZeniMax owns the IP, or Bethesda owns IP, I should say, or whoever.
I think what happened is that group, I think, like, had disbanded, and those people that worked on it are working
for
in
Bethesda.
other places.
Oh, okay.
I think, but I don't know for sure. I don't know the full details.
Human Head.
They were talking about
Human Head closed on November 13th, 2019.
Yeah, they're still working with them, but they're not still under that same name.
No, Roundhouse Studio is their
Roundhouse
studio.
is what they're called now. Yeah.
I think the only sad thing that I had about this, it wasn't about what Nintendo, what Sony's going to do, because I think those two are going to be fine on their own. The sad thing about it was that it kind of showed that people didn't really care about Bethesda's own IP. They were just like, good, they could go and make Halo Infinite. Because I even asked the question, I'm like,
I think that was more about just fun talk of people just kind of of just having fun thoughts about stuff.
Josh,
because
Josh
at the end of the day,
they was just like, yeah, they acquired Bethesda, now give Bethesda's titles to the other first party of Microsoft and let them do it. Like someone mentioned that the Coalition should do one of their Bethesda's games, and like they should really just go and help Halo Infinite become better. And it was just like we're supposed to be celebrating.
That's because nobody has faith in Halo Infinite. That's
nobody,
why. That's
nobody
why
has faith in 343 because like, I mean, according to the public, they haven't put out a serviceable product ever. So. Even though that's why that talk is there. Yeah, I think.
Well, I mean, yeah, it took time to get there, but Master Chief Collection is probably one of the most amazing products in my opinion ever made.
They didn't develop any of those games though, except for Halo 4.
I know, but just the theory of it, just the way it works and stuff now, like having all the games in one game technically is something that you always dream about.
Yeah, but it took them 6 years to get where they are now. You know.
Yeah.
I mean.
Yeah.
And I think that was the only kind of sad thing. It's just like, let's celebrate. Let's congratulate Microsoft on making this big move. ZeniMax now have good, a solid foundation for their developers to be making some great and awesome games, definitely for the Microsoft brand. And if they want to put them out for PC or Nintendo or Sony, they have that right to. Microsoft could go ahead and do that. That's more money for them.
I mean, when they say a case-by-case basis, like, I think they're definitely leaving money on the table when Starfield and Elder Scrolls 6 comes out, if they don't at least try to put it on PlayStation. Either make it a timed exclusive, or like the better pitch is like, yeah, you can pay $70 to play it on PlayStation, or it's part of Game Pass. You subscribe to Game Pass and you get it.
Independent if they're going to bring that game to Steam, because
I think they will. All of Microsoft's games are on Steam. Yeah. So
because I think Fallout is still a big title for PC players.
Like,
I mean, there is.
Yeah, it'll always be on PC.
I have a question for you, LeRon, being the PC guy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Bethesda has their own launcher, right?
Not anymore.
Well, not anymore.
They don't have one anymore.
It went defunct after they overhauled Fallout 76.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Well, then never mind. I was gonna say how's that gonna work with them being acquired by Microsoft? But now, if it's not there, then I guess I don't have to worry about it.
Yeah. It went defunct when they overhauled Fallout 76, because Fallout 76 is why they launched it, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did anybody, not us or anything, anyone knows that how well it did or anything?
Fallout 76.
It probably did.
The launcher.
It probably did well when Fallout 76 launched, and then once all the tomfoolery came to light,
Yeah, obviously it didn't do good if it's not
there anymore.
What about the modding stuff? Because I remember that modding a lot of Bethesda's games was like somewhat welcome, but then there were starting to be rules and things to it. Like, does that still continue, or does that is that phased out or anything?
Modding communities is still there. Still there. Like you got a lot of companies like who's responsible for the cities Skyline series, because they welcome modders, and if I'm speaking out of turn, I think that they're using modders to complete their game. Or make their game better. No, I'm for real. Because
because the Left 4 Dead thing, that's what happened right now with this update. People who modded the game for the new Left 4 Dead update, that's all mods.
Well, look at Minecraft. Mm-hmm. Like, people have made these phenomenal assets to put over things in Minecraft to just be able to make them just look amazing and
I love
cool in neat ways.
I was just saying, to clarify the modding thing. The modding stuff for consoles, not for PC.
That's a completely different topic, because technically modding is also a way of backdooring into the actual architecture of the system that you're on, and that's one step closer to piracy. This is why PS3 had a problem. Because someone was actually, I can't remember, but basically the whole PlayStation Network thing went down because of the stuff that homebrew people were trying to do, and that's what caused a massive fallout with the whole PS3 system, and like PSN went down for a hot minute and all that stuff. I don't know all the exact details about it, because I know it was a dark era in my history of PlayStation, and especially given that I was a brand new PlayStation Plus subscriber. Like that hurt me. That hurt me a lot. Even though technically they gave you like the month or two credit back for it and all that stuff, but with console gaming, the modding scene is not there, because you have to break the architecture of the console to do the mods.
Yeah, because I know it was a big thing with Bethesda. Like at a point in time, they was talking about it. And
well,
stuff,
they
had
added mods in. I think that you could get for some games, didn't they?
Okay.
Because I thought they made it like an actual like part of the game for consoles, since they obviously don't want people trying to mess around with your consoles and stuff to try to do that.
So basically they made they basically made a mod editor. Is that what you're saying? Because didn't they do that? Because I could have swore there was something about some games on consoles having a modder like thing added right in that you could actually. I think you had to buy it, but it was I don't know. That makes sense. If it was like a small charge, like $5 to $10, that makes sense, because there are people who will pay for it.
Yeah, because they were just like something about like if you sold it or anything or some money, whatever money was coming from it, it was going to go straight to Bethesda. It was a weird thing at that time for it. Any last words though? Because we got 2 more topics before we get close to the end of the show. Any more or anything else, guys? I know we didn't really talk about the SDD one, but people complain about the price, but people still pre-ordered it, so it's.
Well, you're not going to get that tech like that without paying for it. That's the thing.
Yeah. And you know why people are complaining about the price. They're complaining about the price because it's so close to the cost of a console.
Yeah. But I guarantee you when Sony puts theirs out, it's going to be the exact same thing. And yeah, you can use third-party ones, but third-party ones don't exist yet. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So we're going to move on to the next one, because this like really threw me out the loop. Postal Redo is coming to Switch, a HD remaster of the game, not the Uwe Boll movie. I remember this thing caused a big controversy. I think this is the first time that it's actually coming to a console, and it being on Nintendo Switch. Thoughts, anyone? Like Corey, I know we just did a power block with all the games that's coming for Nintendo Switch. Do you think we could keep this one off?
I don't. Sorry, I was responding. I was responding to something. So what did you say? I'm sorry.
So Postal Redo is coming to Nintendo Switch, an HD remaster.
What is it?
Postal.
I've never even heard of it, so whatever.
You haven't?
It's a old like 20-plus-year-old title that came out just on PC.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was from Runner with Scissors. It was a big controversial thing, and Uwe Boll did a movie of it for it.
Sounds
basically
riveting.
it was another one of those murder spree games, but it was supposed to be
okay.
Is that where the term "going postal" comes from?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, sounds riveting. I don't care.
Yeah.
But I was asking you, can we keep it off the list of all the Nintendo games that's coming?
Sure.
Keep it off the list?
If you didn't tell him it existed, he wouldn't have even known that.
It literally came on Nintendo Live, so I thought Corey would have seen it, be like, "What the world is this?"
I looked at the video for it, and I'll be honest with you, it's just like what I said with last week's questionable content game. Like, there's a market for it. People are going to buy it.
Mm-hmm.
People are gonna buy it. People are gonna purchase it. Like, shoot, like, in all honesty, maybe I'm just like some sick demented person, but I was looking at the trailer. I was like, man, like it looks like it's fun. I remember opting not to play it back then, but that also is because I wasn't a PC gamer back then. So, like I'd have to have a PC that would run it, back then. But I look at it now. I was like, you know what? This is not the worst. This is not the worst thing they've ever tried to front to us, you know, in video games, you know, thinking that, you know, like we're not going to be outraged or something. So, you know, because what was that game about the we were talking about that freaking Columbine game. And,
Oh,
you
the
know,
Columbine RPG.
like this is So, you know, like there's a market for this. There's a market for this game because when you look at it at the end of the day, it's like it's just another Mayhem game, just like Splatterhouse and all those other games.
Mm-hmm.
But Splatterhouse is good on graphics. Well, we're going to get into the last mini boss talk. Amazon launches Luna, their streaming service, and we go back to our PCs, consoles, handhelds after hearing the news. Because the only controversy that really came out of this was that their controller looks like the Pro controller for Switch, and that was it.
Everybody's Pro controller looks like an Xbox One controller.
Yeah,
because it's the best.
Yeah. To be fair, which also looks like the original Xbox controller S. So
yeah.
I think Luna's gonna do. I think it's more appealing, I should say, than Stadia. But
yeah, for sure.
I don't really have any opinions on it, honestly. It's fine. You know, it's $6.99 a month, I think. Which is
that's $5.99. That's an $5.99 price. We don't know what the real price is going to be because like right now it's an early access phase.
Right. Plus, I think they're adding the Ubisoft thing, and it's going to be set up like a package thing where like, you know, you can add EA Play, you can add Ubisoft, what is it, Uplay or whatever, for a certain extra amount, and you get those games too. So, which is actually a pretty interesting way to go about it, honestly.
My question is, when does PlayStation get into bed with one of these companies?
I mean, they already bought one in Gaikai, like what, 10 years ago at this point? Like they already bought a company that specializes in this.
Well, I mean,
we'll see what happens
because it just I don't know. I think I've never been so like unsure of what the future is going to bring as I am with like all this stuff going on, because like I mean I think Microsoft Xbox is gonna do just fine, but like but like, you know, like they're kind of still in a way in their wheelhouse, like with these new changes. But like there's so, you know, so many of these other companies that are coming out with stuff are kind of too, and like, you know, Nintendo, you know, I don't know if they would just be the only like actual console that still exists, or if they will ever, like, you know, those are the things like people like these companies like where that's just not something that they're used to.
Mm-hmm.
Or even, you know, shows any signs of being in, you know, in that direction, like what's going to happen. Like it's going to be interesting, because I do think this is the future, you know, like the whole Netflix type thing, you know, having it on your TV, having it on your, you know, whatever device that you want to use, you know, your maybe eventually Apple TV or something, depending on how. But that's the thing with this new one, that Google said that they have a way to skirt the Apple
Amazon
things. Yeah, the Amazon one. Yeah, that they have a way to skirt the whole Apple debacle, and they claim, and they'll be able to be on the iPhones and all that stuff, and still have you go to, you know, and pay through things through their app and not actually through the Apple stuff. So we'll see how all that plays out.
We'll see how that.
Yeah,
it's interesting.
But we're gonna get quickly into our BRP analysis. Paying for what you get has been a topic for years. How do we handle our personal spending habits? And should judgment be following that person's purchase, although it isn't their money that is buying it? So, meaning that if you are a person or someone is judging you because of your personal stuff, is it right for them to judge you, even though it's not their money that was used to buy the product that you want? So let's answer the first question. How do we handle our personal spending habits? So I am guilty of double dipping. Definitely, like LeRon said, I'm a Nintendo fanboy, but I would get stuff for...
I say that with love. I say that with love.
Yeah, but I would get stuff for for Microsoft, I would get stuff for Sony, whether it's first or third. I do. When the Amiibos came out, I was like crazy for Amiibos. Like I think once I was able to start buying my own consoles and stuff like that, if I wanted the game and I had the money, I went out and buy it. I didn't worry about what people were saying of what I was buying because it was my money. Now I do try to spend it out, but if I see a good digital sale, I would get it. If I have money to get copies for people, I will go get a copy, or I'll buy it as a gift nowadays if I can, to help someone else's library. I try not to overdo it or anything. I know I'd be like, okay, I gotta make sure that I spend a reasonable amount so I don't lock my credit card or anything. But I try to be a little bit reasonable about it. So, Corey, what about you?
I mean, with family and stuff now, I really try to be careful at certain points. Now, granted, there's stuff that I don't think about that I buy, but like I've become way more conscious about what I buy in the last, especially the last year and a half or so. 2 years.
Kids will do that to you.
Yeah, especially even when it comes to physical versus digital, right? That's the whole reason why I went digital on Switch, is because I didn't want my kid to swallow the cartridges, because she's going to be the one kid that thinks those things taste good. But it's. I have really tried to rethink about it. That's why I've been getting rid of so much stuff recently, right? Is like, if I didn't do this, I wasn't going to get an Xbox on day one or until it dropped in price, or, I was just going to have to suck it up and play Destiny at 30 frames a second and be sad about it while everybody else was playing in 60. But, and I've just been like, that's why Game Pass is so appealing too, right? It's like, oh, I can pay the equivalent of 2 games a year to play all of these fantastic games, right? Like, all these games, most of them are good to great, right? Like, it's just, it's way better.
It's preference, obviously, but that's basically that's how I save money. Is I just get Game Pass.
But yeah, I mean, and I don't know. I've just become really kind of. I wait for sales on most games. I wait for, a lot of things. So,
yeah, I know. I will sometimes get some when it comes to collectors. I would get that first print run if I can. So like the Xenoblade.
Oh, that's where this conversation is coming from. Oh, okay. Let me just for the audience out there. I ridiculed Ed last week because he threw down on that Ori collection. And I was like, man, you got the big boy collection. I was like, why? I get where he's coming from. I'm the bad guy here. I'm sorry.
No. Can I actually tell you this correction actually came up because of the 219 SSD card? How everybody was complaining about the price, and it's just like, I now agree with Jesse. I'm like, you pay for what you get. You're getting top of the notch. You're getting top of the notch quality.
Oh, I get it. Okay. So basically, the reason why a lot of people are complaining about that is because like we're living in basically we are teetering into another recession if we didn't already fall into one. So a lot of people it's sticker shock for a lot of this stuff. I mean, I'm having sticker shock right now, realizing the games are going to be $70. PlayStation 5 controllers are going to be $70, and I'm like, man, like I was complaining about the Nintendo Switch Joy-Cons being $80, and here we are, like my new console system, my new console is going to have a $10 extra price tag on both games and controllers now. Typically, stuff like that. So a lot of that's sticker shock. As far as like personal spending habits, like I'm also in the same wheelhouse as Corey. Like, I, as a PC gamer, I love these humble bundles and these Steam sales and the PlayStation Plus flash sales and all that stuff. I just spent $7 for a game on Switch that I didn't even know existed, because I saw a review for it and it just happened to drop from $40 to $8, for on a quick sale and stuff like that. Everybody's always going to have something to say about how people spend their money, because ultimately in the back of that person's mind, they're thinking, I wouldn't spend money on that, so why are you doing it? And but as far as getting what you pay for, like when you're paying for the upper echelon stuff like this, Well, like after I read because I had a knee-jerk reaction about the Xbox expansion card, but I thought it was just basically another external memory card. But then when I looked at it, I was like, oh wait, this is actually a hardware add-on.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
And once I actually did the research and read up on it, I understood why. And yeah, the proprietary value that's in it. Like, first of all, like it's a 3.1 SSD. And if you go to a Best Buy store right now and try to buy like the 500 gigabyte or the 1 terabyte SSDs, you're spending that type of money anyway. So the price, that's non sequitur at this point. Yeah. It's exactly because technology right now, like we're like until we get to the point where we're now like if you go into the store and you buy like a 1 terabyte, just a regular hard drive, like it's $50, depending on where you go. Like when we get to the point where it costs $1 per gigabyte and stuff like that, a megabyte, a gigabyte, that's when like it all makes sense. But people have a comfort zone, and that's why like there are so many outcries for a $220 1 terabyte card. They don't understand like the cost of the technology for it.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
yeah,
LeRon,
I was just gonna
go ahead, Jesse, real quick.
Yeah, like like that's the thing is I think initially it definitely is like that's that's a lot of, but I'll be honest, I was like totally anticipating it costs $300 for one.
I
of
thought it
those.
was good. Because I was like they could have easily charged more for it. Yeah,
because with the like it's like every time that we get this kind of stuff where it's a brand new like SKU of like anytime that like the first time that a terabyte hard drive came out, like when that was like like the gold standard or whatever, like those were super expensive. And it's always unfortunately it always is that way whenever they come out with something new, when like I mean even like look at like when the Vita and stuff like that, like because unfortunately at that time a lot of that stuff was kind of on the newer side for the memory stuff, and so then you always end up paying a premium for it. And so like it's unfortunately like tech doesn't care about recession or like unfortunately it's still going to cost them a lot of money to make these products. So it's like it, and for right now it's we haven't seen anything yet, but I have a feeling that deleting games and downloading games onto these hard drives and stuff like that, or like you can for the Xbox, you can save your games on a regular hard drive, but you just can't play them from there. Yeah. You have to transfer them over. But with the transfer rates being so high on these new hard drives, that shouldn't be an issue. It should just be pretty quick, and like so for a while I think that will be perfectly fine, just having them on an off hard drive and then transfer them over when you want to play it. Like I honestly don't think it's going to take much longer than what it would take for you to go find the pick out which game you want to play in your physical thing, take it out of the case, pop it in, and then wait for it to start. Like I mean it might take a little bit longer than that, but I think it's not really going to be that big of a deal. But that's the problem, is we don't know any of this stuff yet. So like we're jumping to conclusions before we really know even. So
LeRon, how is your spending habits? And I'm gonna let you out. Did you need? Is it the same thing like Corey's, Jesse?
Yeah, pretty much. Like but also I pick and choose which games I want to get and when I want to get them. For example, just like how you said you're not getting Cyberpunk at day one now. Like it's the same thing for me. Technically, I pick and choose which games I want. Like certain games, certain pieces of hardware, certain features. Like get me at certain times. I'm not. I'm not an online gamer for mostly anything. So like I hadn't had PlayStation Plus in forever, but now I know I'm getting a PS5. I went ahead and I bought two 1-year subscriptions to PlayStation Plus, and I'm going to redeem as soon as I have the console. it's a pick and choose when you want. I also got them on sale.
Yeah, for 30.
Nice.
Did you say $30 for
$30?
a year?
Yeah. So I bought two. So I spent for the price I got for 1 year. I got 2 years.
Nice.
Plus, you're going to be getting all those PS4 games with it, which will be nice.
Actually, that was honestly what made it for me because I can honestly retire my PS4 now. I can honestly retire it.
And then play the games on PS5.
Yeah, and play the games on PS5, which is good because my PS4 is basically acting like it's trying to stage a revolt anyway, with like all the little quirks it's having right now. Like I said, I have it completely turned off because like it will just randomly turn itself on and spit the disc out that's inside the drawer and stuff like that. Yeah, it is what it is though. It's technology. Yeah. But what I will say is like, listen, like if you want the experience of something, don't be afraid to spend the money for it. Like if you know for sure you're gonna have a use for that Xbox expansion card, buy it. Mm-hmm. What does it matter? You know what you're going to get out of it. Just like I know what I'm going to get out of it when I buy that 3080 graphics card. If I decide to get that one, or if I wait and see what AMD is going to do. Don't be embarrassed. About your unless it's something that's disrupting your life. For example, like you can't take care of your family, you can't keep your lights on, and stuff like that. Don't be embarrassed about what you decide to spend your money on.
Well, with that, everybody, we want to know what you guys spend. Like, what are your spending habits? Do you balance or anything? And what do you think about when people are judging you with your purchase and stuff? You can email us at bosspressure.games@gmail.com. You can go follow us on Twitter at bosspressure.games. LeRon, where can we find you?
Exodus 803, EXODUS 803. That's on social media as well as my Twitch channel. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, and follow the Crossroads podcast on Twitter also. Jesse, where can we find you?
You can find me almost everywhere as Phantom NXS and also on Arsenal X.
Yes. Corey, where can we find you?
You can find me at I am Corey HD on Twitter.
Yes, and you can find me on Twitter at ThatRetroCode. Check out Option Opinion on SoundCloud, and we're one podcast on Poppy and other podcasts. With that, everybody, have a great week. Have a great weekend. As we get into the holiday spirit of being spooky, we got a lot of things coming in October that you guys should be checking out. And also check out Nintendo Power Block also, because we got some Mario levels that is coming soon that you guys are going to want to play. With that, everybody, we will see you next time.
Hold on. Ed. Halloween's coming. Finish Dead Space. Halloween's coming.
I will. Before I finish Dead Space, I gotta finish Breath of the Wild. I gotta get that out. That's my goal for my vacation, to get that game done. Then Dead Space. So everybody, have a great week, have a great weekend, and we'll see you next time on Boss Push Podcast. Bye, everybody.
Bye.